And now Chicago Tribune. New sensors will scoop up big data on Chicago streets. They will record digital address of every device in live time, tracking the whole history of where you went and what you did. Totally illegal, totally violates your rights. But beyond that, there's microphones in it. But don't worry, it's sculptures. It's sculptures to keep you... Oh, it's beautiful. And the whole article is about how beautiful the sculpture is. You're not against art, are you? And, of course, they're blasting you with electromagnetic radiation. By the way, the Toronto Star and the Baltimore Sun both reported more than 15 years ago about how DARPA was testing hidden antennas with soothing energy wavelengths to calm public during time of distress. And now DARPA has admitted it and came out 2 weeks ago and said, we do want to put brain chips in everybody who's upset, and not just them. If you want to be in Black Ops now, we want you to have it. And, of course, what do they call... what is Call of Duty's slogan? The future is black. That means secret armies that can be flushed down the toilet. It isn't cool to be in Black Ops, ladies and gentlemen. But all our young people, oh, Black Ops. Soon all there'll be is Black Ops. A secret army, everyone a spy, everyone recruited. So you can be spied on more closely. You're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're a top scientist. You've been recruited by the CIA, or they've tried. You've been recruited by the FBI. Not because they want you to help save the country. They want to watch your butt. Now, I will tell you, there are still good people at the state level in states like Texas and Tennessee, Arizona, and a few others. Montana, Wyoming, Missouri to a certain extent. Oklahoma, where people aren't perfect, but they love their kids and don't want to be under pure evil and are physically upset by it. Maybe it's because their ancestors fought King George, I don't know. But the issue is the state of Texas was preparing an emergency plan when the government got rid of the border to stop at least the criminals and the drug gangs with the armored vehicles, tanks, and gunboats. And I didn't believe it when the senator first talked about it on air. Another senator gave me until 6 months ago that, no, you'd seen them deployed. And I've been told the stories about the Mexican Marines are operating on both sides. We broke that 5 years ago. And they're throwing drug cartel people out of helicopters. But that's only drug cartels that aren't paying their cut. So when your family members who are in the U.S. Army, U.S. Marines, are with the Mexican Marines, the Mexican Army is totally corrupt. It's not involved. That's actually on the other side. Los Zetas fights them. Los Zetas was founded by the CIA on record 10 years ago to run all this, and it's come out in federal court documents. This is all a war over who controls the Mexican government. Wall Street or their own El Jefes down there. It's a civil war in the drug cartels, and our government is the ultimate drug cartel. And whenever people get busted, U.S. soldiers carrying out these ops, they just get in trouble like, oh, they were doing it on their own. But it came out in federal court of top Los Zetas operatives. They're really CIA. There's the headline. Report, New American CIA working with Mexican drug cartels, of course. And if you join the U.S. Army now, you're being rotated. Well, they only take seasoned folks for this. I know, I've got family down there. I'm just going to leave it at that. They've got that Eurocopter is what they're using, not U.S. Blackhawks. So it's top that the back opens up, and they can all run off. And it's just full-on war down there, just slaughtering, machine gunning, throwing people out helicopters every day, just everything blowing up, just total death. And this average person has no idea what's going on. The public, just take your cancer shots, drink your fluoride, and get ready to get in a coffin and watch some sports. Let's go to some phone calls. Diane in NEB, Nebraska, formerly in the U.S. What FEMA region are you in, Diana?
Actually, I forgot to look it up, Alex. I used to know. I want to say 5 or 6, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think you might be in 8. Can we look up the FEMA regions? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just calling the last couple years, especially just the last couple months here. I've been thinking more and more about this dream I had in the spring of 2001, and I remember it because it was so striking and because I was living in a place that was very remote, and it was the first time I'd ever lived out in the middle of nowhere. And anyway, in the dream, when I came into it, I wasn't seeing like everything that's going on now. I was catching the back end of it, and it was at the end of a very, very, very long war, whether it was just a civil war or world war, I don't know.
By the way, you are in FEMA Region 8, just so you know. Go ahead.
8, okay, thank you. I'll remember that for next time.
Well, it's good to know where you are in the former U.S., because admitting that is half the battle.
Oh, yeah, I'm there, definitely.
No, I'm saying we got to explain to the public. When I say deep behind enemy lines, I mean, I'm not joking. I'm in occupied New World Order, former United States. They now plan to mop up the media and the rest of us. So, I mean, it's just full on. And the enemy's operation is so over the top, only admitting the full horror can stop them. Go ahead.
Well, that's why I keep thinking of this dream, because in the dream there was really nothing left. I don't even know. I was still there. Now, whether I was in body or there in spirit, I don't know, but there was definitely much less than 5% of
You know, it's funny. In my whole life, I've had dreams that come true, sometimes 10 years later, sometimes 10 years later, sometimes a week later, and I've told people about them. They don't happen very often. They're always very upsetting. You feel like you've been somewhere. It's very scary, and I mean, nothing really scares me, folks. These dreams do. And sometimes it's like I'm walking down a path I've never been on, and a guy comes out and mugs me, and they're wearing the exact shirt. It's the same guy. Or a family member dies, you know, stuff like that. I've had a recurring dream that I would have when I was first about to get on air in about 1994, 95, of trying to get somewhere in the Texas Hill Country and pulling up on Mexican troops at a checkpoint and having to look at my rifle and making the decision, and I'm going to leave the rest of the dream alone. And I remember even in the dream, I was like old, my back was hurting, not real old. I remember I was a different person. It was like the dream is so advanced, it's like you're even smarter in the dream. Like it's in a, you know, like 6th dimension, able to time travel, they think in the brain is what describes that phenomenon of prescient dreams, of like precognition. And then I'm getting the rifle and making the decision because I've got kids with me that I've got to go ahead and, because I can't go where they're taking me. And there's the knowledge they've been... no, that's a hypothetical book I'm writing before the New York Times picks it up. I'm just joking. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, anyway, my dream, the strange thing was there really was, except for one low-level spy, there really was not any New World Order left. That's not to say they weren't underground in some of their deep underground crystal palaces or whatever they have down there. But there was one... older man, looked like a professor guy, still wore a cardigan sweater, and he was a spy, but he didn't really have anyone to report to, so that was the strange thing. But what was even stranger was, like I say, this had probably gone on, this war or craziness, complete dismantling of civilization.
No. The official British Ministry of Defense report, you're absolutely right, from 2007 predicts total collapse and just mass death by the billions. Just type in flash mobs, brain chips is our future. London Guardian wrote a big article on it. You can read the full report. And it's just incredible when you actually read it for yourself. And now the Pentagon says, but that's the plan, but they want to stop it. No. They tell the compartmentalized Pentagon people they're trying to stop it, so they don't understand it's being engineered. Just like troops killing drug cartel people don't understand they're compartmentalized, only taking out the rival cartel of the Federal Reserve. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, is this a prescient dream? Have you ever had prescient dreams before?
Yes, and a lot of times they have come to pass, and I'm hoping this one doesn't. It stuck with me a long time after I had it. But also what was unusual was, even though, and people were beyond homeless. There were still some buildings standing, but people had just been nomadic for so long that homeless wasn't even really a reality anymore. Everyone was just so used to kind of traveling in packs or solo. But at the same time, there wasn't
Well, that's why everybody's buying food and getting weapons and everything, is they can sense that things are collapsing, things are being shut down by design. Things are, and I mean, literally, most of Latin America and Africa is what you just described. So there's tiny islands in Europe, some of the Middle East, some areas of Asia, Russia, and North America, Australia, New Zealand. Everywhere else is literally dead bodies on the ground, skulls, armed gangs running around, and people just living in huts being bitten by mosquitoes. and you know, salons predicting America will collapse. I mean, they're all preparing us for this while they survive it in armored compounds and redoubts above and below ground. And that's why we've been warning everybody. God bless you, ma'am. And you know, everybody should talk about this prescience. And I'm telling you, folks, I'm telling you that you don't have to believe I had that dream or not. And let's just hypothetically for the media say I was joking. It's funny. I'm thinking about writing a fiction book along those lines. I'm really not going to start telling you what I really think, folks. Just the point is that if you notice how we know about all this stuff, the point is expanding on all of this information is that we can change this future. That's only a possible future the globalists are trying to push. If we expose who are the ones behind it, they won't shut down the rest of the coal power plants. Notice the Supreme Court ruled yesterday, kind of a half-hearted deal. Oh, you need to have a little bit of, you know, check with Congress. Don't shut everything down, because shutting them all down will be too obvious. See.
This is Leanne McAdoo for InfoWarsLife.com. I'm here with Dr. Edward Group, master herbologist and chief formulator behind the InfoWars Life products. Dr. Group, what have you been hearing from women who've started taking Super Female Vitality?
You know, we've heard the reviews and feedback from Super Male Vitality, from emails to even excited callers on the radio. Now, the answer for women is here. A new formulation specifically designed for the female body, Super Female Vitality, delivers 10 key herbs that work synergistically to revitalize the unique biology of women.
I'm so glad that you guys made this for women. When he brought me home the bottle of Super Female, I had tons of energy, tons of motivation, a lot of drive. My husband thinks I've been in a better mood. Our relationship, all I can say, is it's a lot better now.
I've just started taking Super Female Vitality from InfoWarsLife.com. Supplies are limited, so secure yours today at InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or dial 1-888-253-3139.
Before I get a bunch of emails about the sixth dimension not being the dimension of time, I'm no quantum mechanics expert, but the fourth dimension is basic time, straight line. Fifth dimension is a plane. Sixth dimension is like a cube, where within this dimension you can move back and forth to different points. And that's how the scientists in mainline science have computers proving prescient dreams, things like that. The problem is there's so many quacks and kooks and, you know, gypsy wagons on the side of the highway, to use a term, conning people. It's not controllable in my view. But we now have computers that electronically off of our data, the Google supercomputers, quantum computers, that are able to predict the future in mass movements almost 100%. And if you're a new listener and think that sounds crazy, they've been doing it for years, but Amazon has now announced they can package your order and have it ready to ship before you order it, and because if you're a big enough customer of them and they have enough data off the internet, they know what you're going to order before you order it. So that's what we're talking about here. The human brain can do that too. It's just that we can't control it. Let's go ahead in most cases. Let's talk to Karen in Arizona. Karen, you're on the air. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much, Alex, for doing everything you do. We've been calling Jan Brewer's office to call out the Arizona Rangers like Rick Perry did, and they're finding all kinds of excuses why they can't do the National Guard, why they can't call out the
It's a globalist North American Union plan to collapse the country. You tell them you're going to vote them out if they don't put troops on the border and start turning these people back to Latin America. If they don't, it'll be a full collapse of Latin America through Mexico into the U.S. that will make this look like a joke. They want to wait till the crisis is unstoppable to bring in martial law using this. Absolutely, and that's why AP finally has had to admit it is on purpose. So you're calling Congress people, and they're giving you the runaround.
We're calling Jan Brewer's
the governor.
The governor's office. And she's saying, oh, she can't do that. And I said, yes, she can. The Constitution gives her the authority to do that. She can do it. She doesn't need Congress to do it. She can do it on her own. And then now they're saying, after so many people call, well, we'll go ahead and take down your input and give it to the governor. So maybe the next solution is people going with their American flags and placards and going down to the State House.
No, I agree. The answer is going to these Border Patrol facilities, these holding facilities, with your own cameras and showing the world what's happening. And the fact that there's real media will make the mainstream horror media cover it, like we've done with the enemy Operation AP. So yes, go to the State House and stuff, but more importantly, go show the VA collapsing and then go show the illegals being given a red carpet. God bless you. We just put on TV screen the governor's phone number. You should be calling all of them. You should be calling Rick Perry. He said some stuff, and he's quietly done some stuff. I got to say, it's actually a decent job having some of the state police down there. It's not a total stand down, but we need to get just full state guard. I mean, we need full. I mean, this is an emergency. I mean, no country's ever done this. This is the end of the nation. I mean, this is off the chart. Pete in New York, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Call.
Yes, sir.
I was wondering, I saw a video on YouTube recently. It was basically a 4-part series from Fox News that aired in November 2001, which basically showed that Israeli intelligence has control over the information networks in the USA. Now, I'm not like trying to be like an anti-Semite or anything.
No, I don't care. I mean, I knew right when you started talking about the Fox News,
I was just
the dancing Israelis, what's it called? The reserve force of Israeli spies. They talk about that in there.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done has been right.
I remember when it aired on Fox News at the time, it was bizarre. Right after 9/11, they had like a 4 or 5-part series. It's on YouTube, talking about Israeli intelligence following the supposed hijackers, dancing on buildings, videotaping. I've even interviewed one of the cops involved in the arrest years ago, the white vans, all of it. And that's something that the film I produced, Fabled Enemies, covers. For exposing that, I was then accused of working for Israel. For exposing the USS Liberty being a false flag attack on our Navy and interviewing the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the captain before he died, the first mate, all of them exposing it. The anti-Israel crowd then said that was a cover-up for Israel, because they actually aren't the anti-Israel crowd. The main virulent anti-Israel groups are almost all FBI, like Hal Turner, as I told you he was, that came out. To not have criticism of Israel be legitimate, but to just be ultra-mindless so it doesn't ever affect anybody in Israel so they'll listen. There's actually very diverse viewpoints and ideas. There's big debates now about funding al-Qaeda and Netanyahu endorsing it, and so it's not monolithic, just like Germany's not monolithic, Mexico's not monolithic. So it gets weird whenever I talk about the Pope calling for world government. People call up and say, I work for the Catholics Church or something. You know, or people always call in and they go, what do you know about this? Because I've gotten the call many times and I know exactly what they're talking about. I've covered it. I made a best-selling film about it as part of my cover-up, of course. I'm being sarcastic. And really what it always is a way for also, not just the operatives, but other people to feel better than everyone else. Oh, Alex, he's an Israeli agent. Well, he lives in the same city as Stratford or whatever. And then, well, that proves it all. Nothing he does is good. None of it's true. Why, let's take him down, which is what Cass Sunstein, who I do think is an Israeli operative at the White House, said will infiltrate the new media and cause infighting. And that's COINTELPRO. But I am more than happy to discuss the Israeli clear involvement with cutouts with Saudi Arabia, Pakistani intelligence, U.S., NATO. I just don't think it was only Israel. Because when you say Israel, it's all this global criminal cell that's in all these systems. Now, separately in those reports, Israel has one of the big contracts for a lot of the caller ID systems in the country to track calls and surveil. There's a major intelligence problem. And I point out that's how this country from every angle has been overtaken. Now, you got 2 minutes to talk about. Try to plug the name of the YouTube video so people can see it and give me your view on it.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. And I appreciate you talking about the Amdocs and Comverse companies that actually monitor.
Yeah, we made a film about it. This is all part of our cover-up.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alex. Basically, it's Israel Spies on U.S. Part 1. There's a 4-part series. And it basically just talks about how there was 60 Israeli nationals that were arrested in connection with the 9/11 attack.
No, there's no doubt that the Israelis were, at certain levels, groups of Israelis were working with the Saudi Arabians, the Pentagon. It was a very sick operation. Go ahead.
And you've enlightened me and opened my eyes, and I know that, there's some people that are just going to say, oh, it was Jews and it was Israel. I know that's not the case. They were definitely working with other intelligence operations.
Because that's what happened. I mean, part of it was paid for by Mossad. The FBI was involved in the other part. Criminal cells in all the agencies, so they were all could be corrupted and all them blackmailed with the info. Do you know how blackmailed our government is for taking part in that now?
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. I mean, they're inclined to do things, especially on the House, in the Senate. Basically all of Congress. They have to bend their knee to certain aspects, or else they're not going to get financed.
Do you think of how scared members of Congress are? They all know it was an inside job.
And it's not just Israelis, it's other aspects, other lobbies, other
Sure. I mean, that's my issue. I mean, if you just say Israelis, there's a whole bunch of different power structures in Israel. People don't even know which power structure that would be or subgroup. Like if you said the Vatican's doing something bad, what, all Catholics? No, it's certain. You have to identify the bad that's going on. The plan of San Diego during World War I was a German government plan, because Germany, when it was part of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, that it was during World War I, had actually run Mexico off and on for about 40, 50 years. And the Germans would send their royalty basically over there to control the country. That's why you get German-brewed Mexican beer like Dos Equis. It's why the railways down there are German style. And even their signals and commands are German. Commands translated into Spanish. And the plan was, by the Germans, was to get the Mexicans to kill all white people, all white males 16 and older, and they launched the attack down in the Big Bend area and other areas. And it was 30 raids by Mexico into the United States trying to draw the United States out of World War I. It failed miserably, and then there were reprisals that were heavy-handed and vicious by the U.S. Army to the Mexicans in the area. But this has been going on for a long time. When the Marines went down to Mexico City, the halls of Montezuma, and took over, going back in the middle of the century before last, that was because Mexico was all the way up in Colorado and areas of Oklahoma claiming they controlled it, which they never even had claims to before that, with Spain, and were killing U.S. Army teams. So that's where all this comes from. And now the globalists, the big mega banks that run Mexico, run the narcotics trafficking on record, launder the money, they are using the failure of Mexico, the 130,000 dead in the last 8 years, and Latin America below Mexico, below Southern North America, Central and South America imploding into depression. The Caribbean crime levels are 4, 5, 10 times higher. The Bahamas are a war zone now of just criminal activity. It used to be safe. Other islands that were totally safe are becoming dangerous. The whole world's sinking into crisis. And I'm going to shoot a special report today that will air later in the week, maybe even next week, dealing with the accelerated global collapse.
You are watching the best of the Alex Jones Show, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. Watch live at Infowars.com/show or become a member of InfoWarsNews.com and help us take resistance to the next level.